right, let me bring up OBS. How's everybody doing out there? It looks like nobody's here, but thanks for coming back. I just hopped off a live where I was talking about the recent exchange between Yemen and Israel. Go check that out. And this one here, I was about to go into the topics that I have here, just a little slight exploration of some recent news from the Levant and occupied Palestine, stuff you don't see in our news. So, but I decided instead of, continuing that at the end of the last stream, I decided that I would cut short and start its own. So here we are, and hope everybody's doing well out there today. Hope your week is going well. It's almost tied up here. We got Christmas right around the corner next week, and hope everybody's doing well. So if you're looking for the truth, you're in the right place. I'm Zach, and you're in my kitchen right now with me. Hope you're enjoying my wallpaper, straight from 1969. And let me see if we can bring up some pages here. Hold on one second. Just got a few web pages. Give me 1 second, we'll get them all shit up. So we're gonna do this one. Man, yesterday I didn't get a chance. My batteries, they're not even charged yet. I was out yesterday and had a nice hike in the woods in an area just south of here. And give me 1 second. We're going to do a few of these. And I live in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania, and right down on the line between us and Lancaster. Man, there's a really, really, really cool spot. It's called 1,000 Steps, and it's a cool place to go hang out. There's all sorts of neat graffiti all over these stones, and the video I took yesterday, eventually you'll get to see some of that. And but beyond that, it's a breathtaking geologic formation. I mean, it's just really nuts. These boulders are just huge boulders just strewn down the mountainside in big piles, and it's really, really cool. And if you're the type of person that's curious about our history and how things got to be the way they are, you can see that our world ain't quite what they say it is. And this mountainside, this hillside on the South Mountain, what it is we call it the South Mountain, but it's one of the foothills of the Appalachians. These rocks, the way they're just like huge boulders, man. And the way they're just scattered down this valley, in this little ravine, it really reminds me of North Carolina. I saw a video of this dude that's been doing some boots on the ground geology, taking a look at the results of what happened in the erosion that happened, these mudslides, the rearrangement of geography and landmass. It's astonishing, and you could see the results of that in this area. There's one area where the creek runs through, and you can see at one point, man, whatever water came through and dropped those rocks on the one side, carved this creek out to the point where you got some like big old walls up the side of the hill and mountain that are probably like 30-40 feet, and then the creek along the bottom at points has some pretty big boulders, not as big as what's on this other side that I'll show you guys, but they're huge boulders, man. It's a really, really cool place. So I'm about to head out there today. I just changed between my last live and this one, and I'm about to go out and do some artwork. Sorry, we got the computer making noise. It's really actually a rare thing, but yeah, we're about to go out there, do some spray painting, and eventually be on the lookout for that. I'll share my trip out there yesterday and today with you guys. Now, let's check out these two. Sorry about that noise, man. It's distracted me. Let's check out these two stories we got here. I'll blow this up. Hold on a second. This one is from Gaza. Hamas's military wing is called Al-Qassam brigades, and this is something that they don't tell us here in the West, right? Because Hamas is actually a political organization. It's very much like it does all the things that your municipality does for you, wherever you live here in the United States, if that's where you're from. It's basically, like I said, it's a municipal player in the area, and these people are elected into office, and then they administer the government and run the local area. And Israel has attacked Hamas leadership, quote unquote, when these people were essentially just spokesmen, or really limited, right? Having limited involvement with the military. So in Hamas, you've started to see this delineation between the Al-Qassam and Hamas itself. And I believe it's certainly to separate the military from civilian goings on. And I believe the same has happened in Lebanon with Hezbollah. Regardless, you have Israeli military still striking the political or administrative or municipal side of both Hezbollah and Hamas. There was recently a spokesman, right before the ceasefire, a spokesman in Lebanon for Hamas, or for Hezbollah rather, was assassinated. And this guy was literally just like a government spokesman. He's like a press what's the word when you go between people, whatever. He was a representative in the press for Hezbollah. So, liaison, sorry. And, okay, so let's see. So what we have here is we have the Al-Qassam representative, and this is the latest one. He hasn't been murdered yet. Please protect him, Lord. Please protect all these people fighting for their freedom. And their human right. So we got Abu Ubaidah, IOF, Israeli occupation force, bombed captives repeatedly to ensure that they were killed. So this is an issue that is broadly lost here in the West. Within Israel and within occupied Palestine, this is a very important issue. This issue of the captives, I mean, it's been the justification for everything that's happened since October 7th. The whole flood revolved around this prisoner exchange. This was Sinwar's plan, pretty much, to draw attention to the conflict from the outside world, and I'd have to say it's largely worked. So, you've had Israel claiming to act on behalf of these captives and these prisoners all the time, right? When Netanyahu was here, he came to America end of July. I have a video where I live react to it on my channel here on YouTube. And then I also have a video of one of the people that he brought, because the whole scene played out a lot like a State of the Union address here in America, where the president who's giving the address will have these various guests that he, mentions and nods to during the speech. Well, Netanyahu did the same thing, and he brought this Noah Argamani to Washington, and I have a video on that on my channel, and it generally talks about how she was mistreated. She was also killed, or she was almost killed, not by her captives, but by Hamas, right? Not by Hamas, but by the Israeli occupation force, or the IDF, or Israeli Defense Force. And that's what these two names mean. This Israel calls himself the IDF, by calling them the IOF. It is a refute to the claim on the Jews' behalf that they have a right to defend anything, right? They're an occupation force, so there is no defending. So there's all sorts of, the warfare is all the way down to semantics and syntax here. And this has been happening since 1947, literally with the creation of the state, of the Jewish state rather, from Palestinian lands. Word salads and using words to one side's advantage or the other, or basically to help the Jewish side and to hurt the Palestinian side. This was a game that was going on back then, just like we see here in the UN and just like we see here in the news today. I'll have to do another video. I did a live on it, talking about the issue of the Palestinian problem and all of the UN interactions that happened, right, and debates regarding the issue, and it really characterizes things quite well, and it shows you that this was a problem that was started then, and maybe even not then, but in 1917 with the Balfour Declaration, and then the mass immigration into Europe from Jews from Eastern Europe, which started the whole issue in Palestine. So this issue of the captives in this war, the video on Noah Argamani, she's like an all-star in this situation, because she tells it right out of her own mouth. You go to my video on my channel, you can see how she talks about how the Hamas, her captors treated her well. They took care of her, and it was the Israeli army that kept bombing and bombing and bombing, and she actually some of her mates that were taken prisoner with her, right, other Israeli citizens that were taken along next to her, they were killed, and they died at the hands of these Jewish bombings, right? The whole story is there on my channel in this video. Check out Mahmoud OD. He covers that quite well, and in general, it gives you a good perspective on things. But this is Abu Obaida talking more about the Jewish disregard for the safety of these captives. It seems as though Netanyahu doesn't mind one bit if he would kill these people. So let's see. Abu Obaida, the military spokesman for the Al-Qassam brigades, accused the Israeli military of deliberately and repeatedly targeting a location where Israeli captives were being held. In a post on Telegram, he said, quote, "The occupation army recently targeted a location where some enemy captives were held, bombing it multiple times to ensure that they were killed," end quote, stressing that the resistance group has intelligence confirming that the enemy deliberately targeted the location with the intent to kill the captives and their guards. According to the spokesperson, the Al-Qassam Brigade's freedom fighters launched a search and rescue operation to attempt to retrieve survivors. However, only one captive was successfully retrieved, but his fate remains unknown. Let's see what it continues on here. A few moments after Abu Obaida's post, the Al-Qassam Brigades released a video captioned, "Netanyahu and Halevi are seeking to get rid of their captives in Gaza by all means." The footage shows a captive with blood on their body struggling to move amid the rubble, most probably caused by the bombing Abu Obaida mentioned in his post. Give me 1 second. We'll scroll down here. Here we go. Yeah, check this out. Quote, "I'm dying little by little," Israeli captive says in new Hamas video. Earlier this month, on December 7th, the military media of the Al-Qassam Brigades, the military wing of the Hamas resistance movement, released a video showing an Israeli captive held in Gaza. Addressing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in yet another message demanding the establishment of an immediate captive agreement. By the time of the video release, Matan Zangakar had been held in Gaza for 420 days, grappling with a deteriorating situation and a worsening health state, fearing for his and his friends' lives as Israel continues its ceaseless onslaught of the Strip. So here you have this Israeli citizen that's experiencing what the Palestinians are experiencing. So it's, his perspective should be quite interesting here. In the video, Zangakor addresses Netanyahu directly, accusing him of failing the captives and making mistakes, the price of which is being paid by the captives. I'm dying little by little, and every part of me dies. We live with little food and undrinkable water and little medicine, he said, further expanding on their deteriorating health state as a result of poor hygiene or the lack thereof, which has caused skin diseases and irritation. So like these are the conditions that Palestinian men, women, and children are dealing with every day in the Gaza Strip and parts of the West Bank even, right? But Gaza's far worse, obviously. Whatever Israel says that they're trying to work on a deal, just like the U.S. is constantly talking, giving lip service, acting as if they're, always been working on a ceasefire. So here he goes on to talk about death of the Israeli captive. Okay, so that's about it there. And generally speaking, the concept here is this greater issue of Netanyahu's disregard for the safety of his own citizens who are being held by Hamas, right? This has been played out over and over. And he even abducted this Noah Argamani to Washington, D.C. and paraded her in front of all of us to hold up his lies and act like he's doing something for these captives. So go check that video out, and I'll link these articles down in the description once the stream is over. Give me a second here. We're going to get this off. And there we go. Okay. Man, I'm pumped to go out to 1,000 steps again today. And I'm excited to share that video with you guys. So finish this up and I'm going to get on the road here. Okay. We got UNICEF calls for urgent action as Gaza children endure daily violence. So this is about the suffering of the children of Gaza. There was a statistic that was out recently, and it basically was saying that the three largest demographic groups of people that have been killed in the Gaza Strip were three groups of children, essentially, and it covered basically children up to the age of 12 or 14. It was infant to then, if you would break them into three age range groups. These are the people that have suffered the most. I mean, it's terrifying. These kids don't want to live. They don't see a future for themselves. Here, let's dig in this article a little bit. The executive director of UNICEF, hold on, I gotta get on it. Executive director of UNICEF issues an urgent call to all parties to the conflict and on those with influence over them to take decisive action to end the suffering of children. Yeah, how about it? Look at this. Can you imagine if that was those were your children? And what makes it any different that they're not? I'm the type of guy that if I'm, at the grocery store or at the shopping center or out in public and I see a child in need, suffering, hurt, injured in a bad way, I will help them or do my best to make sure that they're okay. And really, we need to check ourselves morally as Americans. What makes this any different? I ask anybody to answer that for me, please. Please answer that down in the comments. The executive director of UNICEF, Catherine Russell, issued an urgent plea on Friday, highlighting the dire situation faced by children in the Gaza Strip who endure daily violence and suffering. The world cannot look away when so many children are exposed to daily bloodshed, hunger, disease, and cold, Russell stated. We urgently call on all parties to the conflict and to those with influence over them to take decisive action to end the suffering of children, to release all hostages, to ensure children's rights are upheld, and to adhere to obligations under international humanitarian law. Yeah. Russell referenced the recent Israeli massacre in central Gaza on Thursday, where a devastating attack on the Nuseirat camp killed 33 people, including at least 8 children. The UNICEF had highlighted that the latest violence adds to a staggering figure of more than 160 children reportedly killed in Gaza in little over a month. That's an average of 4 children every day since the beginning of November. Over the last 14 months, Russell noted that more than 14,500 children have been reportedly killed in Gaza, and nearly all of the Strip's 1.1 million children are in urgent need of protection and mental health support. There's no safe space in Gaza, nor any sense of stability for children who lack essentials such as food, safe water, medical supplies, and warm clothes as winter temperatures drop. The executive director of UNICEF further warned about the rapid spread of preventable disease, citing over 800 cases of hepatitis and more than 300 cases of chickenpox. Earlier on Saturday, the health ministry in Gaza confirmed in its daily report that the number of Palestinians killed since the start of the Israeli war in the Strip has risen to 44,930 martyrs and 106,624 injured. It noted that numbers of victims remain trapped under the rubble as ambulance and civil defense teams are unable to reach them. And, it should note that Israel has constantly attacked and destroyed hospitals, and then the field hospitals that would pop up to replace them. After they shut down, destroyed, arrested all the workers in all the real hospitals in the Strip, they then proceeded to attack any of the field hospitals that were essentially popping up in these different refugee camps. And that's what the Jews have done. They've herded the Palestinian people into camps, and then they are bombing and attacking the camps. And they're destroying a hospital if it sets up shop trying to help people in one of these camps. This is disgusting. I mean, we are sitting witness to the real Holocaust. We need America to wake up, and we need to stop supporting our government supporting Israel. Period. 96% of Gaza children feel death is imminent. The study reveals. A recent study examining children enduring the war in Gaza has revealed that 96% feel their death is imminent, while nearly half express a desire to die due to the trauma they've endured, The Guardian reported. This is The Guardian. You see, in the West, they try to play sympathetic a little bit. They're the ones creating this. They should be ashamed of themselves to even report this at all, They should be ashamed of themselves, period. The West is disgusting, and they've proved themselves as such with their support of this genocide state. A needs assessment conducted by a Gaza-based NGO, back to the article now, with support from the War Child Alliance charity, has found that 92% of surveyed children are not accepting of reality. 79% experiencing nightmares, and 73% display signs of aggression. I bet you have kids acting out. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? If you're an empathetic person, if you're a person that has the ability to put yourself in others' shoes and sees the value in that, how do you look upon this news? And how does that not break your heart? And how does it not make you want to do something about the very atrocities, disgusting foreign policy and support of Israel that are happening in our name because they're being funded by our tax dollars? How does that not make you want to stop everything and fix this? These people don't have anyone to stand up for them. These people need us. What side are you on? Are you consenting to this? Or do you disagree with it? And I say, if you disagree with it as I do, I think we need to organize and do something about it. And we need to stop our government funding this. Trump is going to be no different. Everyone has their hopes on Trump, but he's in the wrong in the two biggest issues, and that is that experiment that everyone got screwed with, and then Israel. Period, man. He's in with the corporations, and he's in with the Jews. What else do you need to know? So if you're sitting here and you're waiting for a rapture, now Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, through him all good things are found. It's the only good that's happened in my life and saved my life and show me the way is my Lord and Savior Jesus, and the good God of this reality, for him or for whom Jesus was a prophet in flesh and God in flesh. Now, if y'all are sitting out there waiting for the rapture, you might be wanting the Jews to go build that third temple and all these things, but you're sitting by and you're letting Satan do his work, and you will be judged for this. We will be judged for this. There is nothing greater upon which to be judged in this very moment. You want to know what those drones are distracting you from? Maybe it's the fact that like a whole group of people is being wiped out, just cleared off of the face of the earth, man. How about an entire region is being thrown into what looks to be the final war to cap off decades and decades of chaos that our Western neocolonialism has put in place. You think that's what those drones are distracting you from? They might be distracting you from the football game or your phone, or all of it is to distract you from this, man. The Israel and Palestine issue is the major issue of our day. It's the major issue of everything since World War II. And if you can't see how the events surrounding Palestine shape everything in our world, if you can't see that over these last 2 years, I mean, geez, if you know the truth, you should be able to see that since 9/11 and knowing that the Jews had something to do with what happened then. I mean, we can go on and on. This is the main issue, however. This is what you are being distracted from. They don't want you to wake up and say, hey, stop sending billions of dollars over to fight someone who's really standing for freedom in Ukraine and in Putin. Stop sending billions of dollars to support a genocide. They don't want you to wake up and do that. This is what you're being distracted from. You're welcome. I got one more article to share before I go bust my art out and climb some rocks. Let me see what we got. Here we go. Just a quick little guy here. Just to let you guys, all you American citizens out here, know what it looks like to have a spine. Hold on a second. No. Oh, that is right. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So we're going to go to the Middle East Monitor. Sorry, this just popped up. Hold on. I don't know why it didn't give me. Okay, I don't know why. So it the Middle East Monitor seemed to update the page for some reason. We're going to read this for you here. So instead, it gave me this this memo. It says, Israeli impunity, genocide, occupation, and apartheid. Israel has pummeled the besieged Gaza Strip nonstop since 7th of October 2023, displacing 90% of the enclave's population and causing a man-made famine, which has already led to numerous child deaths and killing tens of thousands of people. Though the Palestinian Ministry of Health has announced a death toll of over 42,000, the real number could be 4 times as high, according to research published by the medical journal for The Lancet. Join us as we take a look at Gaza over the last year. So I urge any of you guys to head over to the Middle East Monitor and check that out and check out their story. I clicked through it over here on the page on my browser, and they're basically the story that replaced the one I was gonna talk about is basically talking about all the things that they led into Gaza and how essentially Gaza has been under siege. These people are being herded like cattle. Any supplies, anything that could come in to help them is not being allowed in, and the whole area of land has been under siege. So check out the Middle East Monitor. And the article that I wanted to share had to do with the Irish protesting. It had to do with them shutting down the Israeli embassy. I believe it was in Ireland. I believe it was in Dublin. So just to speak to us Americans, so if you don't know the story, there were Irish peacekeepers manning a UN tower, also Malaysian guys, I think, right? And they were attacked by the Israeli army. This UN tower and this area of Israeli-Lebanon border, I think this UN position has been there since the 80s, right? Since that conflict between Lebanon and Israel. And so anyway, they were instituted by UN law, and Israel just didn't like that they're there. And there was a series of aggressions between the Israeli army and the UN peacekeepers in the tower. And at one point recently, this tower and this complex was surrounded by Israeli tanks and shelled. And no one was killed, but there were Irish fellows and Malaysian guys that were injured. Richard Medhurst covers that quite well. If you go back, it's probably going back about 2 months now, but check him out in general and check out, look for that story on his page of these Irish peacekeepers getting shelled by the Israeli military. So Malaysia, you saw the Malaysian prime minister shortly after that. He took a super aggressive stance at the UN and really tried to push stuff through the UN. And then generally speaking, you've seen Irish citizens come out against Israel, the same way that the Spanish citizens came out because Israel booed the Valencia victims and stuff at that soccer game, right? The Israeli hooligans did. The Irish don't like the fact that their people were being attacked, and not only that, they don't like how they're being disrespected because the Israeli military didn't really seem to care that they did this. So they do have a little bit more a fire under their butt to do something and say something. They have a stake in the game in a bit, but in my opinion, we have a bigger stake in the game because it's our money that is going over there and, it's paying for the Israeli military to shell Irish peacekeepers and Malaysian peacekeepers, in addition to killing civilians in Lebanon, civilians and the entire population of the Gaza Strip. They'll be moving on the West Bank soon. They'll be moving on Jordan soon. This Greater Israel project is in full swing, and what we're seeing is the wholesale cleanup of all the Arab states and whatever was left of them after World War II, and all the former colonies of the Ottoman Empire and the Levant, and then shortly with British and French control, they were given states, right? These are the same states that stood up against Israel as it was carved out of Palestine, and the Palestinians were refused a state. And these are the same Arab states that have been, taken apart, been warred against, or regime changed in the consequential history since that period of time, right? So this is all just coming to complete full circle with Assad and his removal. I'm telling you, Jordan is, I guarantee you Israel has their eye on Jordan. And if the king stays in power, it's only going to be like as a governor, and you're going to see full on Jordan become either a colony of Israel or they're going to be taken over. Listen, this is happening right in front of us, this grand scale, greater Israel. And like I said, it's happening at the cost of the people who were native to this area, right? To the peoples who own these lands because they were born there and they have their heritage there. And our Western neocolonialism has come in and they've created this Jewish state from Palestinian land illegally. And now we are seeing an expansionist project of Western neocolonialism reach its height, right? And its ultimate goal, which is going to be taking out the regional power in Iran. This is what we see. This is what it's all about. This is what's happening. This is what the drones are just to distract you from. Our government should be handling these drones, guys. End of story. What do we have to talk about? What about the murder of 100,000 millions of people? I don't get it. I just don't get how people are like, they don't understand what there is to be distracted from. I just don't get it, man. So if you get it, and if you like this content and you like the information I'm sharing, help me get it out there. Share this to people. Show this to your family. Show this to your friends. My channel's like ill shadow ban, man. Really bad. So I need help getting it out there. And I hope that you found this information informative. I'm going to go climb around the woods, take my camera with me. So be on the lookout for some pretty cool video of 1,000 steps out here in South Lebanon County in Lebanon, PA, USA. And yeah, man, take care till next time. Hope everybody's good. And remember, Jesus loves you. Always will, no matter what you did. All right, peace.